Hey guys, what's up? My name's Ronder, and I'm here to bring you the Lake Stevens Battle Association Season 3 Week 4 matchup between the Seattle Staraptors and the Galapagos Garchomps. The Garchomps are one of our division rivals this year, so it's even more important that we win this match than usual, just like our last week's match against Matt and coach of the Everett Tropius. So, just hopping straight into team preview. This week, the big threats that we were identifying on his team were his three legendary Pokemon, Terrakion, Cresselia, and Tornadus Therian, all of who are really big threats in different ways. Terrakion and Tornadus are just both really fast Pokemon. They outspeed my entire roster, pretty much, save Aerodactyl. And Cresselia is just super tanky, and so it's hard to 1 or 2 hit KO without setting up, really. And so those were the big three threats that we're really preparing for. Outside of them, and even including Terrakion, a lot of his team is weak to fighting type moves, and especially when you factor in the fact that Pangoro gets the ability Scrappy, which can hit ghost type Pokemon with fighting type moves, his Sableye and Frostlass's fighting type weaknesses even add to that. So looking at our team, this week we see the return of the lead setup Aerodactyl. We're running Tailwind, Taunt, Stealth Rock, and Stone Edge. So this week, having a really fast offensive Pokemon wasn't as important to our team as it was in the past couple of weeks. Really, we were just looking to set up Stealth Rocks because Josh's team lacks hazard removal outside of Hitmonlee, who can learn Rapid Spin, but Josh doesn't tend to run Rapid Spin on it. So getting Rocks up is just super valuable because he typically can't and won't remove them. Taunt is there for several things, like taunting the Cresselia is pretty good, taunting Sableye if possible is pretty good, and then Stone Edge is our attack choice of the week. Simply because if we saw Tornadus at team preview, we could play more carefully with our Aerodactyl, save its HP up a little bit, and then hopefully be able to go in and smack the Tornadus with a Stone Edge somewhere down the line. Vivillon this week is really similar to the Vivillon that we brought last week, in that it's just super setup essentially. This week we're running the same Sub, Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance set, but instead of Hurricane we're running Bug Buzz, just because of the type coverage that it gets on Josh's team is a little better than Hurricane. Especially looking at the Cresselia, who is neutral to Hurricane but weak to Bug Buzz, and Bug Buzz doesn't miss, and all that good stuff. This week we see the return of Choice Scarf Jirachi, who's running Healing Wish, U-Turn, and Iron Head, of course. But then the fourth move this week, since we didn't really need a third attack coverage move, so I decided to splash Trick onto it, just because tricking a Choice Scarf onto something slow and or defensive, such as the Vaporeon or the Cresselia, could be really beneficial. And especially the Cresselia, if you take away its ability to Calm Mind or Moonlight or whatever, you severely reduce its effectiveness. Even though you make it kind of fast, it's way limited in what it can do. Dylan the Pangoro makes a return this week. Again, his main target is the Sableye, really, because my favorite calc that I did going into this match was that Adamant Choice Band Scrappy Pangoro with Superpower can OHKO Sableye even with a burn, or at least the standard like utility Sableye that Smogon recommends. This is just great because Sableye is always a problem whenever I fight Josh. Most of the time he brings Sableye because he knows that I love to use mostly physical attackers. And so having a good just go-to answer for Sableye like that was excellent. But it was also useful against other things. I mean, I could kind of spam Superpower with impunity because he has 5 or 6 fighting weak Pokemon. If he brought the Snorlax or the Frostlass or the Heliolisk, all of those would have taken super effective damage too. We have Knockoff, mostly for the Cresselia, but knocking off anything is pretty good. Parting Shot and Ice Punch, I believe? I don't really remember. Superpower and Knockoff are the two moves that we're planning on using the most, though. We have Mega Charizard X, of course, and this week I'm running a more standard setup Roost set, just because neither Thunder Punch nor Earthquake, nor any other move that Charizard could run was really super useful in this matchup. I was mostly looking just to slam holes in things with Flare Blitz after you get set up. Mainly the Tornadus and the Cresselia. Tornadus obviously need a boost to be able to outspeed and hit, but Charizard from full HP can take a Hurricane, I think, and then just punching Big Hole and Cresselia is super valuable as well. It's also a backup option for Sableye because it can't be burned despite being a physical attacker, so that's always nice. And then last but certainly not least is Breloom, who's making a repeat appearance this week. Breloom's super valuable in this matchup, mostly because of its priority. It's able to take out a lot of threats and just threaten them immensely with Mach Punch. Namely, especially on this roster that he's brought, Terrakion with a little bit of prior damage can be KO'd with Mach Punch. Tyranitar, Mega Tyranitar can be OHKO'd with Mach Punch no matter what, and same with Terrakion with Hitmonlee. If you get just a little bit of damage on it, it can do like 80 to 90% with a Mach Punch, so that's pretty fantastic. Again, if he had brought the Heliolisk, that's another threat that's faster than most of my Pokemon that Mach Punch would be able to just take out, and all those good things. All of that in addition to Vaporeon, who you can just kinda take on head-to-head with Bullet Seed. Breloom's just a great addition for this team. Okay, looking at his roster, he brought the Terrakion, who we're like 90% sure is probably Scarfed. He brought the Wish Healing Vaporeon, his Calm Minding Cresselia, his Fake Out, Unburden, Normal Gem, Hitmonlee. He doesn't run the Reckless one, he uses the Super Fast Unburden one, which is in a lot of ways more scary because it patches up Hitmonlee's so-so speed and makes it terrifying, so much to the point where even Choice Scarf Aerodactyl can't outspeed it, I'm pretty sure. He's debuting his new Mega that he just traded for last week, Mega Tyranitar this week. And then last but also not least on his team is Sableye, who's probably here just to be a hindrance and try and mess me up. With all that aside, let's get into the battle. Okay, so going into this, I decided just to lead with Aerodactyl, as was the plan, and I'm not really sure what he's going to lead with, but since I didn't see Tornadus on the opposing roster, saving Aerodactyl for later just really wasn't important. Outside of setting up, a lot of his purpose was defeated. So he's going to go straight for a Will-O-Wisp, which I was fearing a taunt because I went for taunt on him, but it ended up paying off because I'm able to taunt the Sableye and set up my rocks. Now I see that his offensive move that he's packed this week is Knockoff as well instead of Foul Play, so that's valuable information for later as well. Here I go for Tailwind just because I kind of suspected him to switch out to something since his Sableye is just sitting here doing pity damage, but he decides to just keep going for Knockoff, so at this point I go for Stone Edge just to get some damage off. I get that high crit ratio crit, so that's nice. He's just going to keep knocking me off, but I'm just going to keep going for Stone Edges, because at this point, again, like, most of Aerodactyl's utility is gone. When I saw that the taunt wore off, I probably should have taunted him again, but I decided just to go for Stone Edge, kind of getting greedy, hoping for that crit, which I didn't get, but the crit would have taken the Sableye out. At this point, though, I decided that Aerodactyl could be valuable death fodder for later, so I decided to switch it out into Dylan the Pangoro, who was discussed as my dedicated Sableye answer. So I actually kind of expected a Will-O-Wisp that turn, not a Recover, but it doesn't really matter, because even if he burns me, Superpower is definitely going to be able to take the Sableye out no matter what. So Tailwind petered out, which is too bad, but going into this turn, he Will-O-Wisped me, which was fairly predictable, and I'm able to just rail him with a Superpower to take him out. That beautiful, beautiful damage. Dylan, you monster. So our attacking defense is going to fall, and this turn we're going to see that he sends in Hitmonlee, trying to get his Fake Out off and just really go for the Hitmonlee pseudo setup. At this point I took some time deciding, but I decided that since Pangoro's main target was taken out, he was my least valuable Pokemon, and just letting him sit in and die was more valuable than letting something else take damage. Because most of my answers to this require me getting something in safely to get a little bit more damage off on it so that Breloom can come in later. So he's unfortunately able to take my Pangoro out, but that's okay, because I'm going to throw in Jirachi, who, since he's not the Reckless set, I don't think that the high jump kick's going to be able to kill me. I see that he's packing Blaze Kick to try and take advantage of my team's innate fire weakness. So I bop him with an Iron Head, taking him down to red, and so that's clear within the range that Breloom can come in and take him out. I still think that Jirachi is valuable for later though, so I decided to throw in my dedicated death fodder, Aerodactyl, and so that worked out well. Even though Hitmonlee took out 2 of my Pokemon, he's going to be forced to either die or switch out as soon as I throw Breloom in. So that's exactly what I do. Here I just go for the easy Mach Punch to take him out, because even if he switched out, he doesn't really have anything that can or wants to take a Mach Punch, so it was just pretty good. Mach Punch is definitely working out to be Breloom's move of the season this year. Here he sends out his Cresselia, and I was expecting a Psychic Stab move, but he ends up going for Moonblast instead. But it largely doesn't matter, because I see my opportunity here to switch in Jirachi no matter what it wants to do, and get that Trick Choice Scarf onto it. So Jirachi's going to be able to eat up that Moonblast, no problem. We see that his item is Leftover, so I'm more than glad to take that away from him this turn. We're just going to easily go for that trick. So now we have some passive healing, which is great. He no longer has passive healing, which is also great. And now that he has a Choice Scarf and he used Calm Mind, he's now locked into Calm Mind, which is even more great than before, because now no matter what, he has to switch out here. And since Jirachi has U-Turn, I'm able to just go for a free U-Turn and get Switch Initiative on whatever he wants to send out, which is beautiful. So here we see that he switches out to his Vaporeon. So my U-turn goes off here. And I'm going to just use this opportunity to go into my Vivillon. And because I know that Vivillon is going to be faster than the Vaporeon, and so I see this is a pretty good target to try getting my super setup off on. So this turn I'm just going to go ahead and use Sleep Powder to put it to sleep. Nighty Night for Vaporeon. And then, see that it also has leftovers. Now, this turn, just like last week, I'm going to throw up a sub, but unfortunately I forgot that Tyranitar is kind of a good answer to Vivillon in this matchup, both because it can get passive damage off on me with Sandstorm, which is kind of annoying, but not the end of the world. But since I put Vaporeon to sleep, I can't also put the Tyranitar to sleep because, again, the LSBA uses Sleep Claws, and so that means that I'm not going to be able to just set up a bunch of Quiver Dances up on him. Also, even though Tyranitar is weak to Bug-type moves, the Sandstorm grants Rock types an innate special defense boost, and so my Vivillon's not even going to be able to do as much damage as it would like to. But even so, I'm still behind the substitute, and so he'll have to hit me at least once to break the sub before he can actually do damage to me. So I see that he sets up with a Dragon Dance here, but I'm just going to keep going for Bug Buzzes until he breaks my sub. Because no matter what, as soon as the sub breaks, I can find a way to get Breloom in to take the Tyranitar out no matter what HP it's at. Here we see him again packing even more fire coverage for all of my fire weak Pokemon, which is pretty smart. So, I'm going to be able to Bug Buzz him one more time from behind the safety of my broken sub. Now he's in the red, but he's way faster than Vivillon now with his Dragon Dance. And so, the best way to take him out at this point is with a Mach Punch from Breloom. But we don't want to just throw Breloom into a Fire Punch because he would probably just get KO'd by that. So instead we decide to sack off Jirachi because without its Choice Scarf, Jirachi's not as useful as it could be in this matchup, and it's also just, again, our most disposable Pokemon at this point. I still saw a lot of value in Vivillon being able to set up on other stuff later on. So here we throw in our Breloom to threaten it out with the Mach Punch. This time, instead of just letting it die, he decides to actually switch out, which is fine either way. So I'm going to go for the Mach Punch anyways. And this Cresselia is going to eat it up pretty well. I even crit it, but that amount of damage didn't really matter. It did so little that it's pretty much negligible. And so, obviously I'm not going to let my Breloom in on this Choice Scarfed Cresselia, so I decided to switch out to my Charizard. Because I was expecting a Psychic Stab move actually, but he decides to go for Moonblast again, which was really fortunate because pre-Mega Evolution, Charizard actually resists Fairy-type moves, so I'm able to just eat that up and pretty much get my Mega off for free. So, in these next several turns, I decided not to just go straight for a Dragon Dance boosting, because in the back of my mind I know that he still has Terrakion, who's probably Choice Scarfed in the back of his party still. And so, the reason that I went for a Dragon Claw first, and then a Roost here, and then another Dragon Claw on the following turn, is because I keep expecting him to send the Terrakion in to outspeed and KO me. Because if I have just one Dragon Dance up, that's not going to be able to cut it against a Choice Scarf Terrakion. Terrakion just has higher base speed than Charizard, so it just doesn't work that way. And so I'm trying to outplay him by trying to get a free Dragon Claw off on the Terrakion as it switches in, because I know that if Terrakion takes any hit, that Breloom can come in and OHKO it with Mach Punch, just not from full. But Josh keeps the Cresselia in and just keeps attacking me, so at this point I decide to call him on his offensive plays and just start boosting, because if I even get one Dragon Dance up while the Cresselia is out, I can boost one more time as the Terrakion comes in, and then be able to outspeed and KO it with Dragon Claw. And so that's able to work. I'm able to get both my Dragon Dances up, and so now I'm faster and stronger than everything on its team. And so Charizard's looking pretty good for the win here. Spend a few turns roosting back up to full HP. Not that I really needed to, but just in case. I believe Terrakion can get Quick Attack, so if it did, we don't want that being able to take me out. And so now we're just going to go for a couple Dragon Claws with Charizard. Dragon Claw takes out the Cresselia here from like whatever amount of HP it had. In comes the Terrakion, but now we're guaranteed to be faster than it at +2 speed, so we go for another Dragon Claw. Wait, and see that takes it out, so that's great. Next he sends in his still sleeping Nullius the Vaporeon. We're going to Dragon Claw this as well, and it's going to go down. And then, last but not least, his Tyranitar did not have enough HP to come back in on rocks, and so Aerodactyl actually picks up a kill, because since he set the rocks up, yeah, that's just how that works in the LSBA, so go Aerodactyl. So yeah, in the end we were able to walk out with a 3-0 victory over the Galapagos Garchomps, which marks our second win of the season and our second win over division rivals. So despite our 2-loss losing streak at the beginning of the season, things are starting to look up for us. Overall, that was a great match. Good game, Josh. I felt like my being able to set up with Charizard near the end of the match was really what let me cruise to victory. But all in all, it was well fought on both sides, and I'm really looking forward to our rematch later on down the line. I think we fight again week 9, so that'll be pretty exciting. Okay, so coming up next, I'll have a video out describing my team's second trade of the season, and then our week 5 match against Dylan, coach of the Detroit Dawn fans, will be coming out later next week too. Thanks for watching. Peace.